I can do this. Oh, the upgraded version from the IONIQ 5s configure the space to your needs, and I can actually tilt. And this headroom, and that is the column type shifter, the hanbok line. And a lot of you guys who's been to Korea before, and the profile, it's gonna take some time for me to get used to. 2, 4, 6, 7. Welcome to CarSceneKorea. I introduce newly released Genesis, Hyundai, and Kia cars. And as you saw from the thumbnail and also on my background today, I have a plenty of IONIQ 9, 3 IONIQ 9 in different colors, along with different variations on the second row seats. So let's go check it out. Honestly speaking, I actually have already spent over an hour with these cars together with my wife Duma, going over the review in Korean. So I am going to tell you everything about this car. Well, because I already made a review and also talked to the PM, the product managers, and people behind the IONIQ 9 and asked them everything that I am curious about. I give it to you, IONIQ 9s in 3 different colors, and I will tell you each of the colors, precise names on the screen right now. However, my vote goes to this green color right here. That is the color that we kind of saw from the 7 concept. I'm not sure if it's the identical same color. However, I mean, we've all seen this color before, right? Definitely inspired and is straight from that 7 concept. Of course, pixelated lights as we see from the penetrating IONIQ brand. Not the first time we've seen. However, it's not just the squares all throughout. As it stretches outwards, it has the curvature and the edge, the lighting, the combination, where they are put is of course all different based on which part you look at. So this is the DRL, daytime running light, and these are the turn signals. And come down this way, this is the headlight, which composes of the low beam and the high beam. However, if you choose a higher trim, this portion actually lights up. What actually sets the trims between the IONIQ 9s, if you will. And when you take a closer look at the front bumper, it is not just a plastic. However, there is the pixel designs underneath this plastic cover, which is transparent. This is the sensors and also ADAS related. Of course, the car gets all the latest tech that Hyundai Motor Group has to offer, this car being the flagship of EV SUV from Hyundai. Therefore, the car comes in with HDA2, LKA2, ADAS, you name it. If you are a big EV fan, IONIQ fan, you guys know what this is. This is the active air flap, which will open and close accordingly to cool down the PE, power electric, because it actually operates in 2 different levels. Simply put, the active air flap will now actually open up and get tucked in. Therefore, it is completely flush when the active air flap is open. I won't be able to find that out right now. If I get lucky, I will include it as a B-roll. I will definitely check that out during my test drive. And that active air flap is almost a must to all these EVs nowadays because it contributes huge to the battery efficiency, which is directly translated into the driving range of the EVs. That being said, be ready to get surprised of this gigantic full-size EV SUV from Hyundai IONIQ 9 because this car comes in with 0.259 CD coefficient of drag. And that number is ridiculously low given the size, given the shape of this IONIQ 9 because Hyundai works down to 1/1000th of the CD to lower that number on a car because every digit counts. That is the reason behind all the curvature you see on the front, but that is also together with the slanted slope A-pillar you see on the front. And I'll show you more about it up close. Let's go. So this is what I mean when you come up close. This just lights up, kind of a separating, giving you the distinctive look between the trims, the headlight portion. Pixels everywhere on this IONIQ 9. When I thought there were a lot of pixels already on IONIQ 5, no, that's not it. Just look at this. You probably see, because of the reflection, it's a bit hard to show it to you on the screen, but you see all these pixels? So the pixels are completely full of pixels in the middle of the bumper. And this is the active air flap that will open in 2 different motions, as I said. And let me show you the bottom of the car, which is also really important when it comes to the driving range, how efficient the car is. Or maybe I should say how aerodynamic this car is. The term Hyundai came up with is aerosthetic, a compound word of aerodynamic and aesthetic put together. It is aerodynamic, aesthetically pleasing at the same time. Would you agree or do you disagree? I seeing the car in person myself, 100% agreed. This is aerodynamic because just look at the curvature, how aerodynamic friendly this car is, and that ridiculous angle of the A-pillar, which Hyundai pointed out. This car proportion and the design is just surreal because it is massive, behemoth full-size SUV from Hyundai, a lot of curvature throughout the entire car, yet it has that very fast slope A-pillar, which we've never seen before on an SUV like this. And thanks to that A-pillar, there is this flag type glass which will reduce extra blind spot out that way, and that is a huge upgrade when you actually drive a big size SUV like this IONIQ 9. Well, God forbid, but that could actually be the key player of preventing an accident from happening when you pull this car in and out of your driveway, because small kids and cats and dogs running around, I mean, there's a lot of safety related tech and feature together with this car, so you have the second aid from that flag type glass. Now that we are on the profile of this IONIQ 9, I want to show you the different wheel design as well as the cladding. So if you look at the cladding, it is not body color matched, rather, except for that portion there, the rest of the cladding is just the piano black that hugs around the entire car, giving that unique look that we never have seen before from other cars. Hyundai could have easily just color matched the entire cladding and just call it a day. However, they decided they would put an extra design on top, which differentiates from the rest of the trim of the IONIQ 9, but also all the other SUVs out on the streets, as well as the blinker for the digital side mirror. And let's count how many pixels there are. 2, 4, 6, 7. All right, so there are 7 pixels on the digital side mirror. Perhaps that is from when the car was supposedly called IONIQ 7. And 285, 45, 21-inch wheel, although a different design. And different design, but this one also has 285, 45, 21, as you can see. So you can choose 2 different design for 21-inch wheels. There's also 19-inch wheels, which is not here for the display. This is just unbelievable. 285 on this IONIQ 9. I have my doubts about that big wide tires and wheels on the front, because my Z, I'm actually running 265 on the front and 285 on the rear. Of course, that car being a 2-seater and sports car, it's going to be different. However, 285 on the front, that is a bold move by Hyundai. However, I did talk to Hyundai here today, and when they have put the car on the test, it was pleasant, they say. And of course, I will find out all about that myself as soon as possible when the test drive gets ready. The cladding that I talked about, the rest of the cladding is body color paint matched. So you don't see the black cladding portion, unlike the one that we saw with the green one over there. And the profile, it's gonna take some time for me to get used to the design wise and also the size wise, but this car is massive. I have a hard time fitting this into my camera lens, as you can see. You see and feel all that to yourself when you see this car in person. And let's go check out the rear, and of course the pixelated lights right there. I'm speechless looking at this in person. Never seen before, nothing like this. That is the tail light. Of course, that's gonna be the blinkers and the third brake light on the trunk. But when everything is lit up, everybody on the road will be able to notice and spot this IONIQ 9. And even this bold move of characters and the letterings on the back of this car, that must be, of course, the reverse light and the reflectors. And let me also give you this view from the rear as well. So I do have a bit of hard time seeing for myself if it's fully covered up, except for the battery pack I see underneath. The rest of the underbody panel is completely covered up, all the way from the front to the rear, as you can see. Also on the front of the lights, this portion is actually inspired from the Korean alphabet or character called Mium. That actually just looks like a rectangle. That is another Korean heritage that Hyundai IONIQ 9 team decided to put on. And together with that, another emphasis they wanted to make on the profile of this vehicle is this second row you see. And together with Mium on the front, perhaps we see more of that abundantly on this matte color. So let me show it to you on this car. That is, you see this portion where this over fender is? There is a point where two lines intersect and meet. So this curvature as well as fast dropping line put in together, Hyundai team decided to call it the hanbok line. Hanbok is a traditional Korean outfit. And a lot of you guys who's been to Korea before, I bet you guys have put it on. That's a whole palace tour, right? The jacket part of hanbok, that is where that line came from. If you see it, drop in the comment below and let me know. I see an over fender on this massive IONIQ 9. Perhaps you also see that on this car as well. And is it going to be more evident when you pop the second row seat? It is. Look at this. So a bit of over fender like design cue that you see from the IONIQ 9. And maybe you see more of that on this angle, just like so. It's more evident on this matte color. Just looks beautiful. Look at this. This hanbok line together with the over fender just is cherry on top when it comes to this design, exterior design of IONIQ 9. I am inserting the footage of the light operation right now. It's going to look amazing during the nighttime for sure. All right, let's get inside the IONIQ 9. But first and foremost is this flush type door handle we see. It's got the IONIQ 9 written on it, not just the front row, but the second row seat as well, which contributes to lower CD coefficient of drag. Heading inside, let's go. Can't wait. And this interior combination is actually my favorite of the three IONIQ 9s we have here today. I'm not so sure if that's gonna be my personal favorite, but I actually like this the most out of three. Perhaps it's because it's got the two-tone interior and lovely color combination put together right off the bat when you look at the interior door panel. So you will see the ellipse design altogether from the first row and the second row seat, which I'll show you momentarily. First and foremost, of course, let's get started with the steering wheel of the car first. 4 dots, letter H of Morse code, of course, H for Hyundai. Not just the 4 dots, but it's interactive pixelated lights, which will do this. Press it, turn it on, it will actually interact with the driver, as you can see. So it's listening to what I am saying, as well as it's got the AI assistant too. Of course, it is only offered in Korean here in Korea. So here it's only offered in Korea. Of course, it will be language supported to your market when it arrives. CCNC, connected car navigation cockpit, 12.3-inch monitors left and right. But before I lose that, because it's going to go away when somebody open up the door, we actually see the maximum range and minimum range and the average range in the middle. That is something that I've seen from Kia EV3 already. It is mostly safe to assume that the number you see in the middle is pretty much the accurate number reading you will see. And that number changes accordingly based on your driving, based on the atmosphere environment around the vehicle. And that max is truly maximum that this car can do if you were to really milk everything possible. So along with the updated infotainment you see here is also the route planning, which is available on this IONIQ 9. So put your destination and you can choose the route to include charging station as your detour or not, and it optimizes route planning. And when you punch in the destination, it will also show the remaining battery upon your destination arrival. All these buttons, frequently used buttons, are physical: home, map, search, media, seek, and also the setup, and of course the hazard light in the middle. And yes, the most importantly, the 2 knobs for the volume and the temperature and the map, such and such, the dial for the AC as well. I will show you all about this on my test drive video. So same thing for this part 2. There are physical buttons for frequently used button: auto hold, the drive mode, keeping your low speed, parking related button, and fingerprint recognition system, which will allow you to start drive your car without a physical car key, and also Hyundai Pay. And that is 2 selected markets: the cup holders and wireless charging pad. And this center arm console, it's massive. I mean, look at this. This is my whole arm. I can actually fit my whole arm here, and you can open it up this way, but wait for it. There is this cover, and undo this. I can actually fit, look at that. I can actually fit my whole arm down to here. And look at that. This is just insanely deep When I first saw this together with my wife Dima, we were blown away. And the best part is that you can actually open this up from the second row seat. Just like that. It is two-way center arm console. And one more thing, when you put stuff inside, want to pass it down to the second row seat, you can get ready for this, all the IONIQ owners out there. Maybe it's missing on this car. I was supposed to show you the universal island, but I was able to find one over there, so I'll show you momentarily. Extra storage in the middle, 2 USB charging ports, and pushes out all the way up to 100 watts put together. 12-volt system right there, even more storage right here. This is about that much deep, so it's about my hand size that you can put vertically. And the storage does not end there. Of course, you can utilize this, place your smartphone here for a few seconds, but if you want to put your smartphone for the travel, wait for this, look at that. There is the hidden storage compartment right here. So this is where you can put your smartphone and the glove box as well. And the car comes in with the built-in cam 2. That's where you can fit your micro SD card. And it took forever for me to come back to this. It is this DSM, digital side mirror, that we have seen before. And the upgrade that Hyundai made on this version, is that when you had the warning about the oncoming traffic when making lane changes and everything, the warning actually popped up inside the screen. However, it is now located here. That way, it is more obvious and direct and intuitive. This plate remains as the metal sheet as always, something that we've seen from IONIQ 5. I actually find this to be very useful because I use a lot of MagSafe accessories. This plate being magnetic, I can place all of that right here. And this is the flag type glass that I told you about. There is a huge difference of having this versus not. It is something that I did point out and mention when I was making the reference and comparison video to that of Hyundai Tucson and Sportage. One car has this and another car doesn't, and there was a big difference between the two. I could feel that immediately. Another thing I found out earlier is this is now fully automatic, meaning it will light up and shut down on its own according to this. And also when you do this, say you put out the visor and you are covering it, it will actually turn off like that. So you can do this. And it's the same for the second row seat as well, fully automated. Flagship SUV of Hyundai after all. And self-explanatory buttons we can see here and there. However, I bet you didn't see this. Wide panoramic sunroof, and it is truly wide, or I should say insanely wide. And you'll feel more about it, all about it, when I close the sunroof. Watch how long it takes for that shade to close. It takes forever, and that's how wide this interior, the sunroof of IONIQ 9 is. So open that up for more lighting, and you can control the seat from the passenger seat, push and tilt, and also put the car into relaxation mode at a push of a button like so. And you can also see that there is 100-watt C-type charging ports right over here too, and that is also on this side of the driver's seat as well. Look at that, goes into the relaxation mode with a push of a button. And this car being the 7-seater 2+3+2 configuration, I will show it to you on that car over there. But when you enable the relaxation mode, there is no interference with the second row seat, so you can have the relaxation mode running both on the front and the rear. The CCNC and the details about this, I will show it to you during my test drive. But before I want to show you different drive modes. There is Eco, Normal, Sport, My Drive, Snow. So when you choose the all-wheel drive, there is Auto Terrain mode, something that we've seen from Genesis brand. That is, it actually detects your eye movement. That way the car knows that the driver is keeping attention on the road. Of course, the car comes with HOD, hands-on detection. That way you don't have to physically shake your steering wheel. So long as you put 2 or more fingers within any part of the steering wheel, alarm saying you should grab onto your steering wheel will not pop up. And that is a huge difference when you put the car on a long distance drives. If you have used it before, you guys precisely know what I mean. And that is the column type shifter we have seen before. However, the start and stop button now has been integrated right into here. It actually pops out and is a very literally a physical button. So
창문이 열렸습니다.
look at this. You will feel this without looking at this part of the column shifter, no problem. Unlike EV9, which actually is kind of integrated, put together with the column shifter here, you don't have to look for that button no more. So nice touch, I like that. And that is the parking button. So let's go check out the second row seat as well as other interiors of IONIQ 9s we have here today. That is the ellipse design that I mentioned. So when you open this up, and perhaps look at it from this angle, the rest of the ellipse is carried over to the second row seat as well, just like that. As for the seat, there are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 I should say. So 12-way seat adjustment available. And with a push of a button, you can go into relaxation mode. There is the thigh support as well, which is a huge plus. Dima pointed out, that helps big time to those suffering big motion sickness. And gigantic footrest as well as the brakes and accelerator. I always love that minus and plus touch, and you can put it back with a push of a button, and it is done just easily, just like so. So let's get into the second row seat of the IONIQ 9. The shade is all manual. I thought everything would be motorized, however this one is not. And the same door handle that we saw from the first row seat, 2 cup holders even for the second row seat, and massive document storage. And you can tilt the second row seat with a push of a button like so to easily access the third row seat, which is all folded right now. I'll show you momentarily. And when done, yep, you can do this and the same button if there's somebody getting out from the third row seat. And the seat rail is within your reach, so you can access that right away, no problem. And this leg room is just unbelievable. It is just surreal. Look at the view you get from the second row seat. The seat alone, wow. I am inside on the second row seat of IONIQ 9, and you can probably see how spacious this car is. And this headroom, it's not even the fist. And also towards the middle, it's concave and carved inside. Even if you are sitting on the sides, you actually feel that curve and extra space all to yourself. And this is the amazing design that Hyundai has done with the IONIQ 9's interior. Crazy amount of headroom put together, the leg room, the list just goes on and on. Nothing out of the ordinary, just push this guy down. There are 2 gigantic cup holders, but I have a good feeling that, hey, the middle seat isn't bad at all. Not bad at all. I'm not exaggerating, I'm not making this up. I can go on a long distance drive on the second row seat of IONIQ 9, no problem. And I can actually tilt. Look at this. I can tilt this much. Oh, I mean, this is the 3-seater second row, right? So imagine how comfy it would be for the 2+2+2 configuration, which I have on my right. I'll show you momentarily. The Bose premium sound system as applied on all of the latest Hyundai cars. Beautiful ambient lighting. Let me turn off the lights. So you see it right here, just a gentle ambient lighting. I love that, I like that touch. It's more obvious this way. It's connected all the way from that CCNC, the infotainment system, and right underneath that panel, passenger seat as well. As I have said, you can actually open this up from the second row seat as well. And AC vents that you can fully control for yourself on the second row seat. 2 C-type charging ports, left and right, both pushes out all the way to 100 watts. AC vent is located right here. I mean, look at the design. I can have all that wind straight directly facing my face. I love that. Of course, you can rotate it, tilt it up and down like so. You can actually push it a little more towards the front row seat. So if you actually suffer big time from the heat or cold like I do on the summer and winter times, you can actually turn on the second row seat AC and have that extra cooling, heating towards your head. Adjust your seatbelt like so, and some more extra storage right here. And that is also crazy deep. I don't know how deep that thing goes. My iPhone is really in there. Look at that, wow. So that's how it works and what it looks like. So this is the beauty about this two-way center console. Oh, so I know this one is not dynamic island. So it is actually physically stuck right here. I know because I actually saw the different one for the dynamic island, which I will show you right now. Let's go check out the other cars. The rear of the IONIQ 9, you can open up the trunk. It's not located on a traditional position, if you will, because I did have trouble looking for it. It's this one right here. And look at this. 2 LED lights on the left and right, because you need that for a massive car like this. The buttons for the second and the third row seat control. If you look at the arrow, it's double-sided. So that means you can control, so fold and unfold the third row seat, while you can only fold manually with the second row seat like that. So that is the difference. And the headrest, you actually have to pull it up like so. What we get with the second row seat and the third row seat upright. IONIQ 9 design, this is actually different for the two-seated cars. I'll show you. So the third row seat, and even and up to 250 volts outlet. And the insane part is that this is the trunk space you get even with the third row seat upright. This is just unbelievable. The two-seat configuration on the second row seat, and this car comes with the massage seat. And this massage seat we've tested out earlier with my wife Dima. This is a serious massage seat. It is nothing like the Ergo Motion seat that we all get on the IONIQ 9, regardless of the trims. Hyundai doesn't use the word massage there, but this one is truly a massage seat. And this is for an extra. However, I think it will be worth the investment, your life together with IONIQ 9. The AC vent in the middle, and this is the difference that I have spotted. So now this is the universal island. That means you can pull out the drawer from the second row seats and you can get the items straight from the first row seat. Drop items in here and you can get it from the second row seat using pulling this drawer out. Universal island that I've been meaning to show you right here. There we go. So this is the huge difference. The upgraded version from the IONIQ 5s, because it actually has 50 millimeters more space distance it can travel. And there's a huge difference of you having this versus not. You can configure the space to your needs accordingly, as you just saw. If you have nobody sitting but VIPs sitting on the second row seat, you can pull this towards you, towards the driver's seat to maximize the second row seat space. Or you can do this to sacrifice the second row seat, yet you can make easy access out the passenger seat and vice versa. And that is really practical. I've done it multiple times with IONIQ 5 before. Cover where you can pull it out and yank it twice to manually open it up. And when you do, we will find out if this car is dual motor or single motor. Easiest way for you to tell is by popping up the hood. And there is no latch now. It's all automatic, as we've heard and seen. You see that everything is tucked inside. You don't have to unlatch anything with your finger. You tell me if you think this is a single motor or dual motor, based on judging by how deep the front trunk is. This is actually a dual motor. That one over there is a single motor spec because it has a ridiculous amount of frunk, which I will show you included right now. And there is also a latch where you can use, probably that hook is for your shopping. After you go to groceries and whatnot, you can actually have all that. And best way to utilize the massive frunk of that version is perhaps to put your car wash bucket and items inside that you don't use frequently, so you can get creative with that. Extra sound absorbers to minimize the noise coming in to the cabin, and also upgraded NVH, noise, vibration, and harshness. And you can just simply slam it to close the frunk. And you probably just heard the noise, how quiet it is when you close the trunks. Up close look of the A-pillar with the flat type glass. And as you can see, the side mirror actually now does not fold. It stays that way, but look how short it is compared to other digital side mirrors that we've been having with IONIQ 5 and IONIQ 6. The other cameras for the surround view cams and everything, the digital side mirror. The lens is actually now sitting much more inside of this housing, therefore it is more physically protected and is safer from the environment. So this is how much the display sticks out. It barely obstructs your physical view out the window from the driver's seat, which I'll show you now. It's only about the height of my finger, 2 at maximum if I really try it. It barely sticks out. If you actually sit higher up, if you are a tall person, I don't think it's going to obstruct your view at all. This versus that. It's a brilliant touch of placing the digital side mirror. As you can see, it lifts. The curvature design is seen all throughout the cabin regardless of which trim interior color combination you get. And the UVC sterilization is located right here. How I know? The light turns off when I pop this open. So this is where you can get everything UVC sterilized. Last but not least, let's go check out the last car, last IONIQ 9 of the day. This is not a calligraphy trim. Easiest way for you to differentiate. There's nothing written on there, whereas it would say calligraphy if it is. What? No wonder it was like that. I actually found out now. There's a button where you can open up a frunk. I was like, why is it so inconvenient and I actually have to open this? There is actually an automated button inside. Oh my God. Now that I have it right here, let me show you the frunk, the front trunk of this IONIQ 9 two-wheel drive. You might think that is not big of a frunk. It is not, until you see this. You see that? How deep that is? I mean, I am inserting another B-roll with Dima, and this is what I mean by how deep you can fit your car wash bucket, you can fit your shopping groceries, the hook that I told you about, and the nets. The list just goes on. And the max load is 40 kilos or 85 pounds for this frunk. And your frequently used items, you can actually place it on top right here, a bit shallow, so that way you don't have to dive inside every time. A very practical use of frunk, I would say. And again, just slam it to close it. And let's go check out the second row seat of the swivel seats of IONIQ 9. The seat does look different, and it is something that we have already seen from EV9, however, IONIQ 9 style. So this is the different Morse code, the letter H I told you about. So when you have this swivel seat set up, you can have your little Zoom meeting going on here. Look at that. But the rumor has it, but I believe it will not be offered to North American market. I mean, double check with your local dealership. However, like it was with the EV9, I think it will be difficult to be offered overseas market just yet. So it's a huge plus for Korean domestic market and models because you can get the swivel seats. And you see the first two seats are actually back to back. It's touching one another. Tilt the first row seat, the passenger seat, you can actually have more space that way and it's more accessible. Sitting inside the swivel seat, the second row seat of IONIQ 9, as you can see, I can control the tilt manual, but I actually like it this way because it's so much faster and quick. Pros and cons when seat is all fully motorized, but I prefer this for the second row seat. And that being said, I pushed the universal island all the way to the front. That way I can easily maneuver inside the car. And when I do, I can do this. Oh, oh my God. Let me send this passenger seat all the way to the front. It's actually pushed out to the front all the way. And this is the swivel seat at its maximum. This is just unbelievable. Oh my God. I can go back as much as the car allows me to. And when I do this, I get so much space out that way. I can truly have conversation with people on third row seat, no problem now. I'm not joking, I'm not making this up. Weird feeling of closing the door this way. Kind of feel like I'm in Rolls Royce now. But you can do this. Jesus. Oh my God. And open up the shade for maximum visibility out the window. There are 2 cup holders on the right of the third row seat. It is motorized. You can tilt the seat using this button. And there is only 1 cup holder on the left. You can do the same, but there is also 100-watt C-type charging ports on the third row seat. You also have the AC vents, even on the third row seat. It is also individually controlled. And LED lighting on the third row seat as well, which is a huge difference. And let me get out. This feels really weird. And what it looks like from the outside. All right, so I'm back to where I started. IONIQ 9 design sketch. I can't get enough, to be honest. I spent past 3 hours with these cars and I've been shooting non-stop, but I actually am getting kind of kicked out because I'm the last one here and everybody's waiting for me to leave so that I can actually prepare these cars and so on and so forth. I will come back and capture you, show you all about this IONIQ 9 once and for all. So stay tuned for that. Don't forget to like and subscribe CarSceneKorea if you did, and I'll see you in the next video. The next video, I am definitely coming out with the test drive of this beautiful Hyundai flagship EV SUV, IONIQ 9, so stay tuned for that. You don't want to miss that out. I will test out everything A to Z, long distance drives, V2L, camping, off-roady, roads, you name it. So I'll see you in that video. Bye-bye. I'm losing my voice.